Well, it's Wednesday again, November 10th, and it's time for our live stream here in the group Mind, Body, Beautiful. And we are going to talk about staying on track when you're traveling, going on vacation, whether it's summer vacation, vacation for the holidays, or just a vacation to get away, right? So, wanted to talk a little bit about that because I was just on a little trip myself. Went to Nashville with my husband and two other couples, and it is difficult to stay on track. And when I look back on the 3 days that we were gone, I didn't do too bad, but I could have planned better. Um, but I wanted to give you all some tips too to help that from preventing catastrophe, like eating and drinking and all those kinds of things that you do when you go on vacation and you tend to, maybe not do a workout, all those kinds of things. So I'll tell you a little bit, like my struggles because I'm human too, and we all do struggle with going on vacation and enjoying yourself, but also knowing that you have these goals, right? Your health and fitness goals, and you don't want to sabotage yourself, and you don't want to start over, and all that kind of good stuff. So, really wanted to talk a little bit about a few of those tips, and I'd like to hear from you some things that you do when you go on vacation, and when whether it's the holidays or you're the summer vacation or whatever it might be. It might be just a trip to a family member's for a holiday meal or something like that. So I'd also like to see if you guys are all here. So say hi if you are here, and I'll be asking some questions along the lines here. So obviously, vacation season can be really all year long, right? It depends on when you have time off from work. It depends on what your family's doing. It depends on the holidays and all that kind of stuff. And you kind of get out of those, or you're not kind of, you get out of those routines that you normally have. And so, what can you do to maintain all the benefits that you've gathered so far on your health and fitness journey? So that like you've been working on this for a long time, so you don't not progress towards those goals, or you stay what's the word I'm using? You want to maintain. You don't want to be gaining a lot of weight and just really, really wreaking havoc on your body. And hey, Val, nice to see you. And Pam and Jody, you guys are awesome. So again, we're talking about how to stay on track when you're going on vacation. Not always an easy task. I can attest to that because I just got back myself. So honestly, vacations really are not the time to follow a super, super strict program, or have these long intense workouts and just stress out over those things, because that's the last thing you want to do when you're gone for a few days. You want to enjoy, you want to have fun, but that doesn't mean that you can't find a balance. There's always a balance, right? Jody says here that she makes a trip to the store the first day when you're gone. That's great, to make sure that you have some items on hand that you can eat and you feel comfortable with, right? And it prevents you then from having something that maybe would not make you feel good, or kind of steer you down the wrong path. So that's a really good point to make. It's a good option. Even if you're staying in a hotel, you can ask the hotel to have a little mini refrigerator. A lot of them will have microwaves, so you can always plan ahead to find out if those places have that for you. Most do have those things, or if you're an Airbnb, of course they're going to have kitchens and things like that. So that's a very, very good thing to do. So hi, Kelly, glad you're here. Nice to see you. Make some comments, ask any questions you have. So again, you want to stay on track the best you can, but you don't want to stress over it. So the first thing is to plan ahead, right? So there's going to be a lot more eating, a lot more drinking, and if you don't plan ahead, then you get caught off guard. And that happened to me a little bit this past weekend. We were traveling with some other people, and it was difficult for all six of us to decide on what we should do we would go somewhere. Should we go back to the Airbnb? What should we do? And so it was really difficult. I didn't pack things in my purse to take along with me, and so I had to really make some choices of what I wanted to eat and also what I want to drink. So it isn't, obviously bad to indulge when you're on vacation, but you can also make it a little bit easier to stay on track the majority of the time. So it's not that occasional indulgence or the occasional missed workout that matters, right? Because that's not going to totally throw you off. So just make sure that you're not too hard on yourself and you can let loose and enjoy your time away. So planning ahead again though is key. And so look at your schedule when you're planning events and see, where are some things or some places that you want to go out to eat. Kind of plan ahead for what you're going to eat there, that kind of stuff. One thing I wanted to talk about, like if you're going to be in a car traveling, you can take a cooler. You can buy those insulated coolers and put foods in there, so you can even have sandwiches using like some Ezekiel bread or things like that to take. You can take grapes, fruits, cut up apples, almonds. You could take some protein bars along. This is that time when having a protein bar versus maybe some chips and salsa. I know it doesn't sound as fun, but getting that extra protein in and giving you a little bit more energy would be helpful. You can do beef jerky, turkey jerky. Make sure you have a lot of water. You want to stay hydrated. I take those tuna packets. Works really well. I take a bag of protein powder and then cut up vegetables and things like that. You can also take a lot of that stuff on airplanes. The only thing that you really have to be mindful is if you're traveling internationally, you don't want to take any fresh fruit. You'll get stopped for sure on that stuff. But all this other stuff you can definitely take, and you can pack that in your backpack, or I take a cooler on the plane as a carry-on, and then I put my purse in my backpack, so it's my only two items, right? So plan to take some of those snacks along. It's going to help you in the long run, for sure. So planning ahead like that, taking those things with you, and like Jody said, you can stop at a grocery store and pick up those items as well, bananas and things for your hotel room and that kind of stuff. So honestly, balance is really king, and finding that balance. Eating well, working out if you can, indulging a little bit. So always come up with that plan of action. So a lot of times when you're on vacation, you're doing a lot of walking, right? So you are getting some steps in and things like that. So that's a really, really good thing to be able to do. And also, this doesn't have to be perfect. So you're going to be out of your routine. And that's kind of fun that way though too. So it doesn't mean that you only have to eat chicken and broccoli and do an hour-long workout every day. It doesn't mean that you have to avoid those social events. So if you're planning to do an excursion or something like that, just plan ahead a little bit. That's really what it is okay, what can I take along? And then when you do go out to eat, there are healthier choices. Have a dessert. That doesn't mean you need a dessert every single night that you're there or every single day that you're there too. So it's just eating a little bit cleaner, indulging once in a while, just planning ahead to have some snacks and things that are on the healthier side so that you don't choose the more unhealthy choices, if that makes any sense. You can do workouts. Sometimes your hotel rooms will have gyms, walking, going up and down steps, those kinds of things. You can take like the stretchy bands along in your suitcase. Even if you're doing some activity 15 minutes, every other day or something like that. But then again, you are walking. Most of the time you are doing, walking and getting those steps in, which is really, really good. You can also, if you're in an Airbnb, getting groceries and planning, a meal that maybe you eat one meal inside and not go out to eat. So let's say you're going somewhere for 3 or 4 days, maybe every day for breakfast you cook, and then the rest of the time you're maybe eating out and choosing some healthier options. Hey Jean, hey Michelle and Karen, nice to see you guys. So again, it's really allowing yourself to have fun and not getting stressed, because you're not going to be perfect. You are going to be out of your routine. But finding just that balance, and walking or doing a short little 15-minute workout, or going up and down the steps, continuing to walk. Make sure you stay hydrated. That's super, super helpful to stay hydrated. And then I am going to talk about kind of balancing out the alcohol, because when we do travel and we go to families for the holidays or whatever, there is going to be alcohol, right? That most of the time. Sometimes there's pressure to drink too as well, but some options would be to have some seltzer and your liquor of choice versus a sugary drink like a margarita, or soda like a Coke and a rum or something like that, where it's a little bit more sugary, and stick to maybe a glass of wine. Those kinds of things, like your margaritas are just going to be in those sugary drinks. There's a lot of like different kinds of martinis with sugary syrups and stuff like that. That's where you're going to have those added calories and just feel really kind of yucky because of the sugar and the inflammation and all that kind of stuff. So more on your seltzers is a little bit better of an option. And then make sure you're hydrated. So have a seltzer, an alcoholic drink, and then have some water, or have both at the same time. It'll cut down more on the amount of alcohol. And it will keep you hydrated, and it'll also keep you full, where you're not going to want to drink as much. So alcohol does come into play, and just know that the sugary drinks are a lot more calories, and that can be 400 to 500 more calories on a daily basis if you do that. So and then sometimes if you're with people and there's this pressure to drink, having a seltzer with a lime or a lemon in it, it just kind of looks like you're drinking, and you don't get that added pressure. And I can attest to that, because we were gone, like I said, and I didn't have any alcohol on Monday, because I just had enough of the 2 days prior to that, and it was really hard because I kept getting pressure from everybody. But then I just thought, instead of just having like a water bottle with me, I did put the lime in it, and actually it does flavor the water a little bit too, and it just made me feel better because everybody wasn't pressuring me, and I felt a lot better that whole day, and then the next day, of course, as well. So it's just that balance. So the first thing to do to stay on track is plan ahead the best you can. Sometimes you do get caught off guard. Don't do like I did and not pack a little bit more for the day, because plans do change, right? The second thing is balance. Eat well most of the time. Do a little type of workout, whether it's steps, a lot of steps, because a lot of times, or hikes, bikes, biking up and down steps in your hotel room, taking some bands along, working out in the hotel gym. And it doesn't have to be an hour-long adventure in the gym. Maybe it's just 30 minutes just to kind of, shake the cobwebs loose and things like that. So, and then of course, indulge a little bit. The other thing, number 3, it's okay to say no. And I kind of alluded to that with the peer pressure. Just remember, you have these ultimate goals, right? You are on this journey, whatever your journey is, whatever those goals are. So it's okay to tell your friends or yourself sometimes, it's okay to eat well and not overindulge, because you're going to honestly feel better for it. And there's really no need to apologize. And it's not something that you need to be embarrassed about. It's like you can say no, but also have a treat once in a while, and do indulge. Maybe not every single day, but if you're gone 3 days a week, maybe it's one meal you really indulge, and then don't feel guilty about it, because the more we don't indulge and treat ourselves, if we get caught in a circumstance when we just are craving it so much, we're going to jump in with both feet, and it's really hard to pull back then. So it is absolutely okay to say no and feel comfortable with it. And that's how you're going to stay on track too, and being good to yourself, and remembering where you're going with your journey. Also, what I just said too, and a lot of these kind of run together, but don't be deprived. You can kind of find that balance on indulging and being dedicated. Try not to binge if you have that, so do indulge. Don't say I'm not going to, and then all of a sudden you're caught in a situation where you do, because that may make you feel guilty, and then sometimes those guilty feelings make you want to binge even more. It's this up here, right? It's our mind that plays with us. So I think the biggest thing is, for me, is just make sure you balance things out and kind of talk through that with whoever you're going with, and just be okay with the decisions that you make too. So prepping meals. So when you're unprepared and you're hungry, you're more likely to make bad decisions. Or if you drink too much alcohol, you're going to be very tempted to eat unhealthy. That's what happens. And that did happen to me, and I ended up having pizza. Obviously not the end of the world. And my punishment for having a little too much was I didn't feel so good after that pizza, because I'm not used to eating that. So it's important. I mean, I'm human just like you guys too, and just to know that about yourself, that, oh, okay, well, I'm not going to do that today, right? So don't keep going down that rabbit hole. If you are in a place that has cooking facilities, meal prepping can help a lot. Like I said, eat one meal in per day. First of all, it saves money. And second of all, you stay a little bit more on track doing that kind of stuff. If you're going with couples, maybe you each plan a meal that you're going to do that weekend. Like they make like lunch one day, or you make breakfast one day, and then another couple does dinner, something like that, where you can kind of plan it out. But honestly, you can kind of look at the restaurants in the area that you are at, and look ahead to see what they have for options, and you can always plan ahead to see what they have. They might have salmon or chicken or a salad and all that kind of stuff. So lots of healthy options in restaurants today too, so don't be afraid to do that. Let's see, you can also downsize your portions when you go out, and order off of a shorter menu, like the tapas, those small plates. You can eat only half of what you order and take the rest back to the hotel or your Airbnb and put it in the refrigerator for the next day. That's always a good way to do that. And also when you're prepping or preparing, having those snacks available is super, super important, because you can take things pretty portably in your pocket or in your purse or anything like that. So let's see. Just looking at my notes here. Yeah, power bars, breakfast bars, fresh fruit, vegetables, all really, really good. In fact, filling up on fruits and vegetables is really important, or eating even before you go out so you're not hungry when you are out and about walking around and doing those kinds of things is really important. You can bring equipment. This is number 6. Bring equipment for a quick hotel room workout, right? Like I talked about the bands. That's what usually I take, or use the little hotel gym, or take the steps, all that kind of stuff. It's maybe not what you normally do, but it's some activity, and it will keep you on track that way, just to feel really good about yourself. So hopefully that it helps. And then obviously move as much as possible during the day, right? Walking. There's probably pools where you're going, getting in there and doing a little swimming. You can go out and dance. And honestly, so I was in Nashville, so girlfriends and I, we danced a lot. That's a lot of activity too, so that's really, really helpful. So it's about just doing things a little bit different, because you will be not in your normal routine, but being okay with that. Don't be hard on yourself. Remember, consistency is key, but balance is necessary. Perfection's not important. And you slip up, right? And it's okay. I just told you I slipped up, but it doesn't define me. Like, it doesn't make me a bad person. It happened. I'm not afraid to talk about it, because we all end up there, right? It happens to all of us. But you're just not going to do it the next day. You're going to get back on track, and you're going to feel better for it. So one thing too I wanted to talk about is, we all have these big goals of, whatever it might be, 20 pounds, 25 pounds, losing so much body fat, all that kind of stuff. But keep those goals for your time away not real big. Like, I'm going to eat healthy every meal, I'm going to work out every day, blah, 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 blah. Because when you are out of your routine, that's probably not going to happen. And then you're going to feel really bad that it doesn't happen and beat yourself up. So make those goals a little bit smaller. Like, okay, I'm gone for 3 days, so I'm going to work out for 15 minutes on 2 of those days. But I know I'm going to be hiking, or I'm going to be getting a bunch of steps in and walking. Um, and we're gonna go out to eat this many times. Try and do really a good job of kind of focusing in on what you're doing, or by planning ahead. But also make sure you take a few little snacks and things. And I'm gonna stress keeping hydrated, lots and lots and lots of water when you travel, especially if you're on a plane, because most of the time when we're on an airplane, the majority of the time, you're going to have some inflammation and swell with water. That's just the way it is when you're up in the air and you're confined to that the little plane that you're on, and the lack of movement on the airplane. You will have some water weight, especially you come back and you get on the scale, you are going to be heavier. That's just a concept that happens, and it's normal for the body the body to do that. But also, if you have been eating out and things like that, it is a little bit more salty. There's sauces, a few more calories than you normally have. So don't be like, that's a normal thing to happen, that you might be up a couple pounds. But a lot of that's not fat, like body fat. It's water and just some inflammation, and that will go away in a couple days. So don't just don't put too much pressure on yourself to be perfect, because you're not going to be perfect. And have some indulgence and feel good, and do not beat yourself up if you do what I did and ate a bunch of pizza and felt awful. Like, that's not the worst thing in the world, right? So, because I didn't do it the next day. And so you know that about yourself. If you feel bad, you're not going to do that. So set those goals smaller. It's not going to be perfect. You're out of your routine. That's the reason why you're getting away, right? To just relax, to connect with the people that you're with, or your husband or boyfriend. And it's to get out of your ordinary routine and enjoy yourself. There's nothing wrong with that. So don't be really hard on yourself. Obviously you want to be consistent. You don't want to just sabotage yourself and feel miserable either. So number 10, obviously, is enjoy your vacation. And rest and recovery is as important as good food and exercise. We don't go on vacation. We don't go on vacation very often, right? We live in America where we work like crazy. And so when you do, I want you to enjoy it. And it's important to enjoy yourself and get the rest and have fun, and just plan ahead and think about what your journey is on that vacation. And honestly, just really, I'm trying to find like this amazing statement to say, but really just enjoy yourself, live your life. Remember, I always tell you guys that it's 80-20. So 80% you're eating well, you're exercising, you've got your head on straight, you know what your goals are, you have a plan of action, you're consistent with what you're doing. And then that 20%, that's the vacation. That's the time when you're living your life, because we don't want to live under a rock. We did that with the shutdown with COVID. We're done with that. We need to be social and get out there and live your life, because it is too short. It goes too fast. That doesn't mean we sabotage our goals when it comes to our health and fitness, though, and staying on track the best we can, but also enjoying life. So remember, it's that 80-20%, or 80%, 20%, right? So I will place these tips below the video, and you're going to find this video or this Facebook Live under the guide section, and it's listed right underneath in the Facebook group under the page, and it'll say how to stay on track when you're on vacation or away from home. And I'll put these tips in there for you to look back on and help you with your next vacation or time away or holiday spent. We're going to talk more about the holidays in the next couple of weeks and how you can stay on track. What do you do when you're going to someone's house and there's, bad choices and things like that, or you're going to parties, and how do you stay on track the best you can? And a lot of these tips are the same, but there's also, like dealing with family that maybe you haven't seen in a while. or and you may not have the best relationship with, how do you deal with those people so you don't get so stressed out. So a lot more to holiday travel away than sometimes just getting away on a vacation. So hopefully this was helpful for you guys. Again, remember, plan ahead, do the best you can. 80% of the time, stay on track. The other 20%, I want you to go out and have fun. Life's too short. Enjoy yourself. And I will see you next Wednesday on our next live. You guys have a great rest of your night. Bye-bye.